Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Luther Season 1, Episode 4. So this is an episode that deals with a very troubled, methodical killer. And so, just to recap some things that happened in Episode 3, which I had not talked about yet, Alice is starting to get under Luther's skin. Alice is a very complicated character. She's very obsessed with that of Luther, and she really likes him. But also, it's almost like the things that she does towards him is also to help him, help understand the mind of a killer, and also to kind of keep him isolated from everybody else so that he only has her to go to and everything. And when he does things that she likes, like talk to her and stuff like that, she's willing to help him out no matter what it is, even if it hurts her. But then when he does things she doesn't like, she wants to get him and everything. And what she did in Episode 3 is that she wanted to, I don't know if she wanted to help or keep him isolated. So she hired a bunch of girls to attack Mark in the parking lot and beat the snot out of him. They lied and said that Luther did it. So of course he's gonna believe that because that's what they said. And he tells Zoe that. And of course, Zoe's gonna believe that on Luther's ex-wife because Zoe's just a bizarre, weird, not poorly written character and stuff. So of course now people at his police station think he's up to no good, and then they hire some type of HR type person. No, not HR, but some kind of what's some people call when a cop does something wrong? They have this certain department investigate them and stuff. Internal affairs. So it's kind of like an internal affair for over in England. And so this one British dude, he's snooping around. He's trying to figure out if Luther's a dangerous person. Also because of that Henry man that's in the coma from Episode 1 that Luther let drop. So since Luther's unable to do his job properly and everything, he later talks to Alice, and then so she finally all right, fine, whatever. So she goes to Mark, sneaks into his home and tells him it wasn't Luther, it was me, and this and that. So the cases for Luther got dropped. But then the internal affair man's all like, look man, I was just doing my job, that's my thing. But I swear to God, if you are a dirty cop, I will come after you, and I will come after you hard. I'm just thinking to myself, man, that's a lot of prejudice in that voice. But of course, they still wonder about him because of what happened in Episode 1 with him letting that man drop. Also, Luther is a very unusual cop. I've already stated, he goes into crime scenes without a gun. Even when people have a gun to his face. He's very erratic. The whole thing between Mark and Zoe causes him to get so angry, he trashes stuff. He breaks windows, he breaks doors, he puts holes in the walls. He just smashes stuff, and he screams and he shouts, and the people in the police department can see this stuff, so they wonder about him, you know. And so in this episode, it starts off with a man. He's out in the park, and there's a woman. Her body is laid out in a very odd way. She's just laying on the ground, and all of her belongings are circled around her in a very odd, methodical kind of way. And then there's a man hovering over her. He takes off her necklace. His name is Graham Sand. And so as Luther and the rest of the police people are investigating, they realize that 3 other women was killed in a very same manner within 5 weeks of each other. And so as they're now looking for this killer and stuff, they're trying to figure out the motive and why this person does it, and what do all 3 of these women have in common, because they're all laid out in a park-like area or out in an open place. So we see this man Graham. He's at a place with his wife for 20 years. And his wife's name is Linda. And so he gives Linda the necklace that he took off the dead corpse and stuff. And so, but then he has to go. And so when he goes, he talks to Linda's friend, which is this, and then Linda, he makes a jab towards Linda's friend, talking about stick it to my wife really good. So the thing is, Linda has been having an affair on Graham. and she's been doing it for quite like a while now. And the reason for that is because it turns out Graham, let's put it like this. He can't get his shillelagh up. Oh, God, I hope that doesn't happen to all men when they get older. God, I hope not. But yeah, he can't get it up. And so because of that, she has an affair on him. And he knows that. And it pisses him off. Because he loves his wife and everything. However, it turns out that the moment he started killing these young women in their 20s, now all of a sudden he can get up. So it's like very erotic for him. So he's a very troubled individual who's psychologically damaged in the head. And so as Luther and the team is starting to like investigate all this, because they still don't know exactly who did it, but then they realize something. All of the women apparently they were walking home at night, which is something you should never do. Never. Now, rumor is back in the day, I don't know about England, but over in America, you talk to some people who are older than me, and they said, oh yeah, back in the day, like in the 60s, not so much the 60s, probably like the 70s and stuff, 70s and 80s, you can walk around at night all you want from like miles away. Nobody will mess with you and stuff. But it ain't like that no more. So apparently all these women are walking home at night. And so Luther deduces that whoever kidnapped these women, they must have trusted him. And so who would trust 3 random women who have nothing in common, don't know each other? He assumes it must be a taxi cab driver, because a taxi cab driver drives around at night. People trust them, and that's really the only connection he can assume with them. So of course they start staking out all the camera feeds on the streets, which, you know, more streets need camera feeds. Like, look, we are living in dangerous times now, and if people can have security cameras all in their houses, then we need cameras on the streets. But then that means you can't key nobody's car no more. So anyways, so they start looking for somebody who is a taxi cab driver, a male and everything. And so during this point in time, the man that Luther put in a coma, he now has awakened. And the only person named that Henry has on his mind is Luther. So what happens? Of course, they reinvestigate the whole thing that happened in episode 1 when Luther let that man drop. And so now Luther has to deal with this crap. And so one thing I forgot to mention in episode 3 is that after Alice confessed to hiring those women, Luther and Zoe reconnected and they slept together. Alice watched from afar in another building, and this upset her. It upsets her because she wants Luther, but she is happy at the fact that Luther has his wife back, because that's what Luther wants. Now, when Luther goes to talk to Alice and everything, he's talking to her about this, like, you know, like this latest, like, crime and everything. And he's also talking to her about Nilsen that has just woken up. And so the thing is like, I'm trying to think, was it this episode? So yeah, so he says that he's in trouble and everything, right? Because Nilsen has woken up, and Luther didn't try to help this man at all. He just let him fall. And so that's kind of like attempted murder almost. So then he tells Alice something she does not want to hear, that causes her to get pissed and screeching mad. He tells her, I can no longer talk to you no more and everything. This is done. Whatever friendship, this type thing we had. Now, they haven't done anything, but he's all like, you know, this thing is like over with. She is flaming furious mad. So mad that she has decided like I said before, I don't know if she's helping Luther or trying to keep him isolated. But so far, it's a little bit of both. She sneaks into the hospital, pretends to be like a nurse or a doctor lady, and she goes in there, and when she's there with Nielsen, who's asleep, she suffocates him. Now, she talked to a police officer that was watching him and said, oh, you know, something happening in the hallway, you need to break that up. And then she sneaks in there, so she kills him. So, of course, they assume either Luther did it or he had somebody to do it. And so now Luther is on that internal affairs guy like bucket list. And so like I said before, I don't know if she's helping him or because think about it, if he dies, he can't testify against Luther. But since he is now dead, this makes Luther a prime suspect. You see what I'm saying? And so they are on the like camera feeds and everything, and they're looking for like this taxi cab driver, and they see a woman getting a taxi cab. And so they start, oh no, before all this happened, I'm getting something else. So Luther was combing old footage of security camera stuff, and he sees a taxi cab driver unable to drive properly. He tries to make like a turn, messes up, and makes like a U-turn down like a street. And so Luther determines that whoever this man is must not be a real taxi cab driver. He must be like somebody pretending to be one because he doesn't know how to properly drive. Well, it turns out that Graham was a taxi cab driver, but he failed like his test a couple of times trying to like drive properly and stuff like that. So now they're on the look for somebody who is a pretend taxi cab driver. And the car that he drives is a fake taxi cab. So when they're looking at the security footage, they see a woman getting a cab. So they start to follow it. And during this time, Graham has lured another woman who's walking alone. Do not walk alone, people. I don't care if you're male or female. Just don't do it. At night, it is dangerous. So he lures her into the car. And then they're driving. She's all like, this isn't the way to my home. And of course, he's not going to let her out the car. And so, like, while this is happening, the cops stop a taxi cab. They open the door. It's a male that gets out, but it's the wrong one. They don't have Graham's car. They have the wrong one. And so Graham, of course, kills this woman, sadly. And so after doing some more detective work here and there, they find out it is Graham. And then they start looking into like his history. And then they start looking into Linda, his girlfriend. They find Linda and they talk to Linda. And they start showing her pictures of what Graham has done. Because she can't believe it and everything. But when she sees these pictures, my God, give this woman an Oscar. I have never seen nobody break down and cry like this ever in TV history from any country. Give that woman an Oscar. She broke down and hollered and everything. So she is beside herself. Now, they're looking for Graham. And so she tells them that she's been having an affair because of what her husband's unable to do for her and stuff. So they start staking out Linda's boyfriend's house. And they look through like the cell phone calls and see he's been calling like a prostitute. And so like, yeah, he has a side piece and he gets prostitutes. So they know that the prostitute's heading to his house, so they're trying to head there first. Graham has already gotten there and he wants to talk to Linda's boyfriend. And he murders him. But he murders him, I think, off screen. And so when the prostitute shows up, she assumes that Graham is the dude that called for her and stuff. And so as he's talking to her, he's very creepy in the way he talks. Like there's like a weird vibe you get from him, right? But the cops have now traced her cell phone because she's the prostitute, and they call her and they all like, look, whatever you do, just play along, keep smiling. The man who you are with right now is not who you think. So she makes an excuse and goes to the bathroom. He knows something's up because of the look on her face. When she goes into the bathroom to hide out there, there is Linda's dead boyfriend's body wrapped in plastic. Graham loses it, and he starts kicking down like the he tries to kick down the door. He's pushing it, he's shoving it. He has turned full-on rage psychopath and everything. And she is hollering, she is screaming. It's a scary vibe feeling you're getting from this. And so the cops are trying their best to hurry up and get there. And so he's just like trying to like his best to kick down the door. And so the cops finally show up. And they tell him don't rush in because he might kill the woman. But anyway, so they send Linda in. And Linda goes up there and she talks to him. And it calms him down and everything. And so they was able to resolve this without any bloodshed, right? And so then Linda goes up to the bathroom and she frees the prostitute lady. And Linda then looks at the dead body of her boyfriend. And she just stares and looks. And then the biggest twist of them all came. I did not see this coming. And when it happened, they don't shy away over in Britain when it comes to violence. Like, cause see, when he was trying to get into the room, he had like a hammer. The hammer is now on the floor. She picks up the hammer and she walks towards Graham as the cops are leading him out to the cop car. And then all you see is her hand raised up and she whacks him in the back of the head. Blood flies everywhere. And it flies on one of the cops' faces as he's like now scared. And then she whacks him again. Linda has now murdered Graham. I did not see that coming whatsoever. So of course now the cops have to take her away and everything. So as that's now been resolved, now we get into something else. Alice is still pissed off at Luther. So she decides she's gonna go back to Mark and tell him what she saw in episode 3 of Luther banging his wife. So when Mark is home drinking wine, Zoe comes in and he's all like, we need to have a talk. And he doesn't want her to see Luther no more or nothing, because he's done and everything. So now Luther has to deal with all this crap. And then in the next episode, this when things really define the show and defines the entire series. It's almost like a running gag what they do in episode like 5 and stuff. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.